Welcome to a Healthy Push podcast. I'm Shannon Jackson, former anxiety sufferer turned adventure mom and anxiety recovery coach. I struggled with anxiety, panic disorder, and agoraphobia for 15 years. And now I help people to push past the stuff that I used to struggle with. Each week, I'll be sharing real and honest conversations along with actionable and practical steps that you can take to help you push past your anxious thoughts, the symptoms, panic, and fears. Welcome. You're right where you're meant to be. All right, I'm super excited about this episode. This is the second episode of a series that I've titled Fully Recovered. And I'm really excited because I'm sitting down with Susanne. And Susanne, just to give a little bit of background, she took Panic to Peace in April of 2022. She was on the podcast in January of 2023, and she shared her story. And if you haven't listened to that, you're going to want to listen to that first. Not that you have to, but I encourage it because her story is really good. That was episode 57. And now today, I'm sitting down with Susanne to hear where she's at now and how things are looking. And we're recording this at the end of April 2024. So, Susanne, I'm really excited to have you here. Hi.
Hello, Shannon. Hi again. I feel so honored to be part of your podcast again.
Oh,
And thanks for having me.
yeah, I am so glad. I know that you are not a fan of sitting down and recording these episodes, so I so
Nope.
appreciate you. I so appreciate you doing it because they're so inspiring and they're so helpful and they just give people so much hope. So let's first start with back when you joined Panic to Peace. Like, let's talk about briefly what did things look like then?
Well, I have to say there are like two different points in time that I would like to mention. Firstly, it's the time when I found you and your Instagram account. That was
Yeah.
in August 2021.
Okay.
I've looked it up.
I
And
love it.
secondly, the time when you offered Panic to Peace for the first time. And it was such a good feeling for me when I found your Instagram account. I had already suffered from agoraphobia for, I guess, yes, it was 16 years. And it was like, yeah, sometimes very intense, like not being able to leave the house and sometimes in a lighter way. And yeah, suddenly there was someone almost the same age as me going through the same thing and now telling me that it's possible to heal. And I was like, okay, crazy, but it was true. And yeah, your daily posts on Instagram helped me a lot back then, and they motivated me and gave me hope. And yeah, most importantly, I finally found someone who had the same thing as me.
Yeah.
And so it was obvious to sign up for the course. And back then, I had just gone through a very intense time. I guess I already talked about that in the podcast. Well, I had a miscarriage. My mother almost died because of COVID, and she is one of my safe persons. And my aunt died because of COVID. And so there was a lot of going on. And I would say I wasn't quite as low I was back in 2006 when it all started, but I was really struggling after those events. And I was afraid to go to work, and my appetite was limited. I couldn't sleep well, and all the symptoms you all know. So that was when I started with Panic to Peace.
Yeah. You just said it, and I can't even believe you were in the very first round that I ever taught of Panic to Peace, which is like kind of mind blowing for me to think about because it doesn't
Yes.
feel like it's been that long. Okay, I
And
remember. No, what was that?
I get, you also had a program which was without the live sessions, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. You could
I don't
take it,
know
and
if you have it, if you still have it, but I can
yeah.
remember that I joined that one too.
Yeah, it's still so initially I just did it so that you could take it on your own. And then I was like, no, no, no. I need to actually sit down with people and guide them and give them the community and the support. And yeah, it's been the best thing, and I haven't stopped doing that since, but you can still take it on your own if you want to. But I know, like you experienced, it's a totally different experience when you take it with people who are on a similar
Yeah.
journey as you. Like, and yeah, so what I feel like there's so much, but what does life look like now? Like, give us a glimpse. There's been so much that's happened.
Yes, well, I would say that currently my life is so different than it was in 2022 because I am a mother of a now 15-month-old son. And to be honest, I could never, ever, ever, ever have imagined being a mother before.
Yeah.
And, it's like the things you all may know. I was terrified of giving birth, and I always said that I couldn't be a mom if I didn't have my life under control. However, uh, whatever that means,
Yeah.
to have my life under control with agoraphobia. But yeah, now everything has changed, and I am a mom. And I was just back in Italy last week. Well, I am from Austria, by the way, so it was a 3-hour drive by car. And we've been on vacation with my husband and son. And yeah, so it's like everyday life. And I've experienced a lot in the last few months, but yeah, many wonderful moments, challenges as a mother, and
Ugh,
and also life has challenged me. Like,
yeah.
for example, to be honest, it's not it hasn't always been great. I've lost 5 loved ones in a very short space of time. Um, but I would have never coped with that
Mm,
so well in the past. And now I was able to deal with death well,
mm,
I would say well. And I didn't panic at the funerals and stuff like that. Um, and I would say I can now deal with life's challenges much better and am no longer, how do you say, thrown off the course so quickly.
yeah.
And that panic to pieces really helped me a lot. Well, I can't say it helped me, it has changed my whole life, to be honest.
Well, it's just so interesting that you brought that up, and I'm so sorry. Loss is so incredibly hard. And, we talk about this toward the end of the program. Like, this is the end, but all the work that you did here, right, to create a healthy relationship with anxiety is going to help you for all those moments that
Yeah, yeah,
life is going to keep throwing at you because life
yeah,
just doesn't, it's not easy breezy. Like, the course finishes and then you never have stressful, hard events happen. Like,
yeah,
that's why you do all this really hard work is to make sure in those moments you don't get so thrown off and then go back
yeah.
into a panic spiral. But of course, too, I have to say, right, it makes sense for big, hard things that somebody might experience some anxiety, even
Of
panic.
course, of
Yeah, and it
course.
and
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily mean like, "Oh gosh, I'm, going back to where I was, like everything's gonna unravel." It just means, no, your body's responding in the way that it makes sense to respond. But I'm so happy to hear that you've been able to navigate so much of life's hardest things
yeah,
and
yeah,
not be thrown off course. That's
yeah.
like incredible.
Yes, and you know, I was so proud of myself that I was able to deal with this hard stuff like a normal person. Like I was able to grieve, and of course I when a friend of mine died, um he left he was a very, very good friend of mine, and he has 2 little girls, and it was so hard for me, and I thought,
Mm,
well, I don't know if I'm able to go to the funeral, but
Yeah.
but I made it, and I was able to cry instead of having a panic attack. And it's okay to have a panic attack. Not
Yeah.
but for me it was something very special to be able to grieve, to not think, oh my God, I have to leave this place. No, I was able to stay in the church and to say goodbye and to feel all the feelings. And it was hard, but in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know people are going to want me to ask this question because you mentioned it. So I want to go back to it. Becoming a mom.
Hmm.
We sort of talked about it briefly before we hit record that like it is so dang hard. But what you said
Yes.
what you said was that you were so scared, so afraid, like you didn't think that you would become a mom, and like going through pregnancy and delivering and all of that, like was it what you maybe anticipated? Like was it so scary, or did you find you dealt with it a lot more easily than you thought you would?
Well, that's such a funny question. No. Well, pregnancy was totally okay, and I felt quite well, and yeah, I'm very like satisfied with all those 9 months or 10
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Giving birth was freaking hard and painful, but I, you don't even have the time or
Mhm.
anything to have a little feeling of anxiety or panic. It's
Yep.
not possible. There are
Yep.
so many. It's what I think. There are so many hormones. Hormones. How do you
Yep.
say? Huh?
Yeah, you're
Hormones,
right.
and there's a lot of things going on, and you don't have the time to feel anxious
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. And additionally, you feel this pure joy and love, and it's I can't describe it.
Mhm.
Right, right afterwards, you feel like you're the queen of the fucking world, and no one else.
Yeah.
Only you alone are the queen of this
Yeah.
world. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I was talking to my mom the other day about it, and I told her I remember walking into the hospital, and I was like waddling in, not knowing, right? I was just so in the moment of like, I'm going into the
Hmm.
hospital and I'm having my baby. And this woman looked at me and she was like, good luck. And I was just like, oh God. And it sort of hit me in that moment that like, I'm having this baby. But it was the same for me. It's like, you don't have time for anything other than to be present with what's going
Yeah,
on. And
yeah.
like, there was no space for anxiety or panic.
No,
So
no,
yeah, and
there
I think
isn't.
I remember too you telling me, which I might be making this up, but I could have sworn, like, because we email, we've stayed in touch this whole time, and I feel like I remember you emailing me and saying that you even like traveled very close to your delivery date, and I was just like, what? And you were like, if I have the baby, I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if
Oh,
I'd be doing that.
yes, you you have to imagine. I suffered from agoraphobia for 16 years, and then I was on the way on recovery, but I was pregnant, so I had to to go to all the destinations.
Yeah.
I I want to go, before having a little baby, because with a little baby, it's not as easy as it is before.
Yep.
And so the the one of the last things I've done was like I can remember it was the 6th of January where I traveled to the city of Zurich in Switzerland, and we've been on this museum of illusions, and my son was born on January 21st. But
Yeah.
I also wanted to travel at January 22nd. It was all planned to have breakfast in Zurich in Switzerland again, which is a 1.5 hour drive. But yeah, unfortunately, it was not possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, yeah.
That would have been impressive.
Yeah.
So I know people are wondering, how the heck did you know you were recovered? Because you struggled for so long, and like, how did you know? Like, how did you arrive at the place where like, yep, I'm healed. Like, I'm not struggling with that anymore.
Well, I think it's the term recovered. I don't know if I see myself as recovered. Well, to be honest, at the moment, I couldn't just get on a plane and travel to the United States. But the difference is, I know that one day I will fly. At the moment, I'm still very busy with my son, and I don't have my head free for like really big adventures yet. But when I think about flying, I feel a kind of excitement inside me.
Mm,
And in the past, it would have been heart palpitations. And that's a big difference, I would say. And I would also say that one of the biggest differences is that in the past, I've already faced a lot of things. I went on vacation, but what's different today is what's going on in my head, in my mind.
yep.
There's so much more anticipation, much more joy, confidence that everything is good, much more being in the moment. And yeah, well, for example, while on vacation in Italy last week, I noticed that I hadn't even thought about packing an emergency bag. I just packed my suitcase like a normal person. How crazy is that? I was so happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean, because for so long you were carrying around a bunch of stuff. Like,
Yes. It was a heavy bag full of stuff you don't need. But yeah.
but I'm so glad. I think this is how I also could recognize that I was to this place. I know you say, I don't know if I would say I'm recovered. And I think we hold, like, I don't know why so many people do this, hold the standard of being recovered as like, I need to be able to do anything and everything. And usually flying is
Yeah.
on that list. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, no, 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 no. The true measure of whether or not you are recovered is what's going on
Yeah.
internally. And
Yeah.
that's the most beautiful part that I could recognize was
Yeah.
I'm doing things. I'm maybe not doing everything, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the things that I would normally do in my day to day. I'm doing the things I want to do, the things I have to do. And the internal, I'm not having these mental battles, and I'm not having the sensations and symptoms and then getting wrapped up in them and all
Mm-hmm.
the thoughts. Like, it just, all of that shifted. And like I always say, it wasn't a day. It wasn't just I woke up and I was like, oh wow, it's all
Mm-hmm.
gone. It was
Yeah.
slow. But yeah, that mental shift is the
Yeah.
best, most amazing part.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So what was something that was like really helpful for you on your journey, whether it was something someone said or a tool or something that you did? Like, what do you feel like is something that you probably maybe couldn't have gone to the place where you are without it?
Well, there are a lot of things, and
Yeah.
the most important thing is you, Shannon.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. And beside that, it's yeah, it's the knowledge about
mm,
anxiety, agoraphobia that you teach us all. Like for me, it was, for example, finally knowing that this scary and for me worst symptom that I could never describe, that I wasn't able to describe, has a name, and it's DPDR. And I
mm-hmm.
think that understanding the fear, the agoraphobia, is so important for change to happen. Uh,
Yeah.
that's that's one of the things, and also not wanting the symptoms to go away, but accepting
Mm,
them and allowing them to happen. The community, the a healthy push community, like to know that you're not alone, and there are many other people who feel the same way, and yeah, and the what? Sorry, yeah,
yeah, no, gosh, like you're so good, everything that you said. And it is, I'm so glad you hit on that. It's not just one thing. There wasn't just one thing that did
no,
it.
no, no,
'Cause that's often what
it's
we're thinking and hoping, like, it's just
no,
one thing that I'm missing, like, I just need to find it, and it's, like, not ever one thing, but the education, the knowledge, the knowing what's actually going on, and
yeah,
that you're not crazy, and that this is the stuff, even DPDR, it's something that makes so much sense, that
yeah,
why it's happening, what it feels like, and yeah,
yeah.
I'm so all of that, so, so good. So what would you say to somebody who's listening right now who's like, I don't know if I'll ever get to this place? Like, I have been trying and working for so long and so hard, and I just don't know if I'm going to get there. And hopefully they have more hope now because they see, it's not just Shannon, there's many people who have done this
Yeah.
work and who have recovered. But yeah, what would you say to that person who's like, I just don't know. I don't think that this is possible for me?
Well, I totally understand this person because I felt the same, and I had that feeling for 16 years. And I think you only believe it when you've done it. And
Yep.
um, I guess I've also mentioned that in the last podcast. It I once had a flash of inspiration on a walk, and then I realized that I wanted to be grateful for agoraphobia,
Mm.
because panic and agoraphobia are diseases that we can cure ourselves through our actions. And I'm not saying it's easy, but if we do certain things that you explain in the Panic to Peace course, then each of us can heal, and we can all recover if we realize that we can heal ourselves, and it's not a psychiatrist and no mindfulness coach, no tranquilizers. We don't need thousands of dollars, just ourselves, a hell lot of courage and continuity. But then it's possible for everyone, and this is 1,000,000% true because I have been there too. Yes.
Mm. Oh gosh, Suzanne, I just love you. Like
I love you too, Shannon.
oh my gosh. The people that I've gotten to connect with and know, and like the fact that we still stay in touch, like I will start crying, so I'm not going to go on about that, but like the fact that we can heal ourselves, and this is often a missing piece for a lot of people, is that they've been sold on this idea for so long that the fix, the cure, the whatever is
Yeah.
going to come from outside of you, and it does not come from outside of
No.
you. And to see you having gone through this and realize like you're all you need and you've got this, and you really did commit and put in the work and take the steps, and like you saw, like I can heal myself and I did do this. And like, it's just incredible, of course, now to watch you and your family and just all the things. It's so, so amazing.
Yes, and it's only possible because you share all of your experience and your knowledge, and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well,
It's
I
yeah.
am just so incredibly grateful for you coming on and sharing. And like I said, if you haven't listened to Suzanne's first episode, you got to listen to that. Both this, everything that you've shared, Suzanne, here has been so incredibly helpful. And I am just so
Thank
proud
you.
of you, like endlessly proud of you. Cause it's like, I always say, you take my program, it's great, but like my program's not the thing that's doing it for you. It's you. And like, yes, I can take some credit for like, I was there and I helped you and I guided you, but like you did it. It wasn't me. So I will always be incredibly proud of you.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
All right. Well, we'll keep in touch. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
For
And thank you
sure.
again for coming on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Healthy Push. If you want more, head on over to ahealthypush.com for the show notes and lots more tips, tools, and inspiration that will support your recovery. And if you're hoping for me to cover a certain topic, be sure to join my Instagram community at A Healthy Push and let me know in the comments what you want to hear next.